What if the wildest visions of the 1990s were not entertainment at all, but warnings transmitted through glowing screens? Imagine a decade where filmmakers pushed beyond the boundaries of reality and created worlds filled with danger, paranoia, and ideas too powerful for mainstream comfort. These were the films that twisted minds, sparked debate, and slipped into cult legend after brief, chaotic lives. Are you ready to rediscover the insane sci-fi films that shattered expectations and reshaped imagination itself? Understood. Number 15. Event Horizon. 1997. Event Horizon stormed into the decade with a fierce reputation as a bold, dangerous experiment that fused deep space terror with cosmic dread. Audiences expected a routine rescue mission, but soon realized they had stepped into something far more disturbing. The story followed a salvage crew sent to investigate a missing vessel that had returned from a journey beyond known space. What they found was a ship carrying something dark, feral, and beyond human comprehension. It was a gateway to a realm where reality collapsed into unending nightmares. But here is the twist that ignited fear behind studio doors. Rumors spread that early cuts were so disturbing that test viewers panicked. Some even walked out unable to handle the visions. This forced executives to intervene. Massive sections of footage were removed and supposedly lost forever. Behind the scenes, the director fought constant pressure to preserve his vision. The production struggled with deadlines, while critics accused the film of being either visionary or uncontrollable chaos. Though Event Horizon failed at the box office, it refused to die. Over time, it resurfaced as a cult titan, with fans desperately searching for the lost scenes believed to contain its true forbidden power. Today, Event Horizon stands as a chilling reminder of what might be waiting on the other side of human curiosity. Number 14. Strange Days, 1995. Strange Days arrived with fearless ambition and a prophetic vision of the future that felt uncomfortably real. The story followed a hustler who sold illegal experiences recorded directly from human consciousness. People could relive stolen moments, joy, fear, or danger, as if they were happening again. Imagine the temptation of replaying your greatest memory. Now, imagine the danger of witnessing a secret that could destroy you. Strange Days explored this world without hesitation. Its warnings about digital voyeurism addiction and surveillance struck nerves long before these fears became part of daily life. Some critics said the film was too intense, too honest, and too close to the truth. Studios feared backlash from audiences unprepared for its raw predictions. Production became chaotic. The budget swelled, the schedule stretched, and behind-the-scenes tension grew as the creative team fought to protect the film's harsh tone. Some whispered that producers debated delaying or altering its release. When Strange Days finally reached theaters, it struggled to find an audience and faded quickly. Yet it did not stay buried. Over the years, viewers rediscovered it and admired its unsettling accuracy. Today, it stands as a stark reminder that technology can expose more than it protects. Forgotten films sometimes reveal truths long before the world is ready to hear them. Number 13. Dark City, 1998. Dark City entered the decade like a phantom. Strange, ambitious, and visually hypnotic, it carried a reputation for being too cerebral for typical sci-fi audiences. But its story was unforgettable. It followed a man who awoke without memories in a city controlled by pale beings who reshaped streets' identities and entire lives while the world slept. Imagine discovering that every memory you held dear was an artificial creation. Imagine learning that your mind was never your own. These ideas disturbed test audiences and frightened executives. Early screenings caused confusion, and rumors claimed the studio forced a narration to explain the story, fearing viewers would rebel against its complexity. Production was grueling. The cast performed long scenes in darkness, while the director battled constant pressure to simplify the plot. When the film premiered, it struggled, commercially overshadowed by louder releases. Yet Dark City endured. Over the years, it resurfaced as a cult masterpiece celebrated for its design, philosophical weight, and daring structure. Film historians now call it one of the most visionary sci-fi achievements of the 90s. Dark City ultimately reminds us that reality is fragile and truth can shift like shadows in the night. Number 12. The 13th Floor, 1999. The 13th Floor slipped quietly into theaters during a year dominated by digital paranoia. Overshadowed by louder blockbuster thrillers, it carried the reputation of a hidden gem, lost beneath the noise. The story followed a man who discovered that his world, his relationships, and his identity were part of a simulation created by unknown architects. Every memory he believed in was code. Every interaction was scripted. Imagine waking one morning and learning that everything around you was an illusion. That idea fascinated some viewers and terrified others. Critics dismissed the film as overly reflective, while others argued that it explored questions audiences were not ready to face. Behind the scenes, the production fought budget limitations and constant comparisons to other reality-bending films of the same year. Rumors spread that executives debated delaying the release to avoid confusion. When it premiered, The 13th Floor barely made an impact, but it did not disappear. Over time, it resurfaced and gained recognition for its atmosphere, its haunting ideas, and its philosophical depth. Today, it stands as a quiet warning that reality may be far more fragile than we dare to imagine. Number 11. Johnny Mnemonic, 1990. 5. Johnny Mnemonic exploded into theaters with wild ambition and chaotic cyberpunk imagination. Set in a collapsing digital world, the film followed a courier who stored encrypted data inside his own mind, turning human memory into a war zone. The concept was daring and dangerously ahead of its time. Some claimed the film predicted the rise of corporate-controlled data warfare and digital dependency years before they became global concerns. But behind the scenes, everything was turbulent. The director and studio clashed fiercely over tone and pacing. Effects teams struggled to build a futuristic world using technology that barely existed. Rumors claimed rushed edits damaged the original vision. When it finally reached theaters, audiences were confused and critics were divided. The film vanished quickly, but time changed everything. Slowly, Johnny Mnemonic returned as a cult artifact celebrated for its raw energy and prophetic imagination. Today, it is admired for capturing the anxiety of a world racing into an unknown digital age. In the end, it reminds us that even flawed visions can reveal hidden truths about the future we are heading toward. Number 10. Gattaca, 1997. Gattaca entered the 90s with a reputation for quiet brilliance and chilling foresight. Many viewers expected a simple futuristic thriller. Instead, they were confronted with a world built on genetic hierarchy, where natural birth was treated as a flaw and engineered perfection ruled every institution. The story followed a determined man born without enhancement who fought to infiltrate an elite space program. Every breath of his journey carried tension as he forged a stolen identity and risked exposure at every turn. Gattaca painted a future where potential was measured by DNA, not by dreams. Some critics called the film too thoughtful and too restrained for mainstream taste. Others accused it of pushing moral questions that made audiences uneasy. Rumors spread that early screenings triggered heated debates about genetic ethics, forcing the studio to reconsider its marketing strategy. Behind the scenes, the production fought tight schedules and heavy pressure to add more action. The director resisted and insisted on a slower emotional tone. This creative tension became intense, and some whispered that the studio feared the film would be misunderstood. When Gattaca opened, it failed to capture wide attention. It slipped from theaters quickly, overshadowed by louder releases. Yet it refused to fade into silence. Over the next years, the film resurfaced again and again as scientific advances brought its warnings closer to reality. Today, Gattaca is praised as one of the most prophetic films of the decade. It stands as a haunting reminder that humanity must never allow perfection to replace compassion. Number 9. The City of Lost Children, 1995. The City of Lost Children arrived as one of the strangest films of the 90s. It carried a bold reputation for pushing imagination to the edge of madness. Audiences expecting a normal adventure found themselves inside a dreamlike world filled with rusted machines, looming fog, and unsettling characters that seemed pulled from a fevered nightmare. The story followed a strongman searching for a kidnapped child in a dystopian city ruled by a scientist who stole dreams from children to stop his own aging. Every scene felt like stepping into a living painting filled with danger, wonder, and unease. Critics praised the film's artistry, yet many claimed it was too bizarre for mainstream audiences. Whispers spread that some viewers left theaters confused, unsure how to process the surreal imagery. Studios worried that the film's tone was too strange and that its creative risks might turn audiences away. Behind the scenes, the production was enormous. Sets were built with intricate detail, and the visual effects team worked under extreme pressure. Filming took longer than planned, and rumors spread that the cost nearly overwhelmed the project. When it premiered, the film gained attention but not commercial success. It slipped beneath blockbuster competition, yet like many visionary works, it did not disappear. Over time, The City of Lost Children became a cult treasure, celebrated for its originality and haunting visual beauty. Today, it stands as a reminder that imagination can be both wondrous and frightening, and that some worlds are meant to be rediscovered long after their time. Number 8. 12 Monkeys, 1995. 12 Monkeys landed with a powerful reputation as a mind-bending dystopian epic. Viewers stepped into a bleak future where humanity had fallen to a mysterious plague and survivors relied on time travel to uncover the truth. The story followed a prisoner sent back in time to gather clues about the origins of the disaster. But each jump through time pulled him deeper into paranoia, doubt, and unraveling identity. The line between madness and prophecy blurred until no one could tell what was real. This unsettling tone sparked controversy. Some critics insisted the film was too confusing. Others said it pushed psychological horror too far. Rumors suggested that certain theaters reported walkouts as viewers struggled to follow the twisting narrative. Behind the scenes, the production was intense. The director demanded absolute authenticity, pushing actors to emotional extremes. Sets were built in abandoned industrial sites filled with dust, rust, and shadows. Some whispered that the crew experienced nightmares, inspired by the film's bleak atmosphere. When 12 Monkeys released, it unsettled many viewers, yet fascinated others. Debates erupted over its meaning and its ending. The film left audiences questioning reality long after leaving the theater. Over the decades, its legacy grew stronger. It is now praised as one of the most intelligent and haunting sci-fi films of the 90s. 12 Monkeys stands as a reminder that truth is fragile and the future may hold terrors we are unable to foresee. Number 7. The Fifth Element, 1997. The Fifth Element burst into the decade with wild energy, vibrant colors, and outrageous creativity. It arrived with the reputation of a risky passion project driven by a visionary director who aimed to redefine sci-fi for a new generation. The story followed a cab driver thrown into a cosmic battle when a mysterious being crashed into his life. Together, they raced to stop an ancient force of destruction. The world they traveled through was loud, neon-soaked, and overflowing with strange creatures and eccentric characters. Audiences were split. Some adored the film's dreamlike universe. Others were bewildered by its fast shifts and surreal humor. Rumors spread that early screenings left studio executives unsure how to market such an unpredictable creation. Behind the scenes, the production was massive. Enormous sets were built, costume designers crafted hundreds of outlandish outfits, and visual effects teams worked around the clock. Tension grew as budgets expanded far beyond expectations. Some whispered that the film was moments away from collapsing under its own ambition. When The Fifth Element premiered, it shocked viewers with its boldness. Critics were divided, but audiences slowly embraced its originality. Over the years, it became a beloved cult classic, with fans celebrating its fearless imagination. Today, the film stands as proof that sci-fi thrives when artists take risks and break rules. It reminds us that creativity is strongest when it refuses to fit into expectations. Number 6. Starship Troopers, 1997. Starship Troopers blasted into theaters with a reputation for explosive action and razor-sharp satire. Many viewers expected a simple soldiers versus alien insects adventure. Instead, they were met with a fierce critique of propaganda, militarism, and blind obedience. The story followed young recruits thrust into a brutal interstellar war. Their training was harsh, their missions deadly, and their loyalty tested at every turn. The bright, polished world around them hid a darker truth. Some critics misunderstood the film entirely. They accused it of glorifying violence when in reality it exposed the dangers of unquestioned authority. Public debates erupted and rumors spread that certain regions considered limiting its release due to the intensity of its themes. Behind the scenes, the production was enormous. Effects teams created massive battle sequences with groundbreaking techniques. Actors trained with real military advisors, and many scenes required physically demanding work. Tension rose as the film's tone shifted between satire and spectacle. When it premiered, Starship Troopers divided audiences. Some praised its intelligence, others rejected its bold messages. It slipped quickly from theaters. But time changed everything. Fans rediscovered the film and recognized its brilliance. Today, it stands as a cult classic, respected for its prophetic warning about how easily societies can be manipulated. Starship Troopers reminds us that danger is not always found in monsters. Sometimes, it hides in the systems we trust. Number 5. The Matrix, 1999. The Matrix arrived like a shockwave. No one expected a film that would rewrite the language of sci-fi and fracture the boundaries between reality and illusion. Audiences walked in expecting a stylish action film. Instead, they were confronted with a world built on deception, where humanity lived inside a digital prison. Every detail of this story challenged conventional thought. The film followed a hacker who discovered that his world was an artificial construct designed to enslave the human race. Each moment pushed him deeper into a rebellion far larger than anything he imagined. The fights felt supernatural, the revelations felt revolutionary, and the world design opened the door to questions that audiences had never dared to ask. But controversy erupted instantly. Some critics accused the film of encouraging distrust in institutions. Others claimed the ideas were too philosophical for mainstream viewers. Rumors spread that studio executives doubted the film until early test screenings left audiences speechless. Behind the scenes, the production was brutal. Actors trained for months perfecting combat sequences that blended martial arts with gravity-defying stunts. Visual effects teams built new techniques from nothing, including the now legendary bullet time shots. Crews worked through exhausting schedules. Some whispered that the directors feared the studio would seize control if delays continued. When it opened, The Matrix became a cultural earthquake. Audiences returned again and again, searching for deeper meaning. It became a global phenomenon and reshaped the future of filmmaking. Today, The Matrix stands as a reminder that reality can be questioned, that truth can be hidden, and that imagination can spark revolutions. Number 4. Contact, 1997. Contact arrived with quiet elegance but carried explosive ideas. Audiences expected a gentle story about space exploration. Instead, they encountered a profound meditation on faith science and humanity's longing to understand its place in the universe. The story followed a dedicated scientist who spent years searching for evidence of intelligent life. When she finally detected a signal from the stars, the discovery ignited global panic and wonder. The world split into factions. Some celebrated the message as progress. Others feared it as an omen. The film asked enormous questions. What does it mean to be human? How do we react when confronted with something beyond understanding? These themes unsettled certain audiences and divided critics. Rumors spread that some regions debated restricting the film due to fears of public backlash against its spiritual implications. Behind the scenes, the production was demanding. The lead actor trained intensely to portray emotional vulnerability. Visual effects teams crafted cosmic sequences that pushed technology to its limits. The director fought for a tone that balanced science with human heart, while studio executives pushed for a more commercial approach. Tension grew during editing as competing visions collided. When Contact premiered, it was praised by many but misunderstood by others. Some viewers found its questions too heavy. Others believed the film offered one of the most honest portrayals of scientific curiosity ever put on screen. It performed modestly, but refused to fade away. Over time, Contact became a cherished masterpiece. Its message only grew stronger as humanity stepped deeper into the digital age. Today, it stands as a reminder that our greatest mysteries lie beyond the stars and within our own doubts. Number 3. The Truman Show, 1998. The Truman Show burst into the late 90s with eerie precision. Viewers expected a lighthearted story, but were instead confronted by a prophetic tale of surveillance control and manipulated reality. The film told the story of a man whose entire life had been broadcast to the world without his knowledge. Every friend, every neighbor, and every moment had been part of an enormous set. Imagine waking up one day and realizing that your world was constructed for entertainment. Imagine learning that your memories were performances and your dreams were shaped by invisible puppeteers. These ideas shook audiences deeply. The film forced viewers to question privacy trust and the growing hunger for public spectacle. Controversy erupted quickly. Some critics said the film struck too close to home, predicting the rise of reality television before it fully existed. Others accused it of being too critical of media culture. Rumors circulated that certain networks feared the film would expose industry secrets. Behind the scenes, the production required immense coordination. Entire city blocks were built as functioning sets. Actors rehearsed intricate movements to maintain the illusion of natural life. The lead actor dove into the role with emotional intensity, delivering a performance that balanced innocence with quiet desperation. Directors, producers, and designers clashed over the film's tone. Some wanted satire. Others insisted on emotional drama. The Truman Show opened to strong reception, but its true power grew over time. As society drifted into an era of constant surveillance, the film's warnings became undeniable truths. Today, it stands as one of the most prophetic films ever created, reminding us that freedom begins with the courage to question the world around us. Number 2. Terminator 2. Judgment Day, 1991. Terminator 2. Judgment Day entered the 90s with unstoppable force. It carried the reputation of a groundbreaking sequel that surpassed the original in every way. Audiences expected relentless action. What they received was a story filled with emotion, dread, and warnings about a future dominated by machines. The story followed a boy destined to lead humanity in a future war. A reprogrammed machine was sent to protect him, while a more advanced and deadly machine hunted him. The chase crossed highways, laboratories, and burning ruins. Every scene carried weight. Every battle felt like a glimpse into a dark future shaped by human invention. The film's warnings about artificial intelligence triggered debate. Some critics believed the story went too far, suggesting machines could one day surpass humanity. Others feared the film encouraged distrust toward technological progress. Rumors spread that early test audiences reacted strongly to the bleak future sequences, forcing the studio to consider alternate edits. Behind the scenes, the production became legendary. Effects teams created groundbreaking digital characters, including the liquid metal villain. Actors trained through intense physical routines that left them exhausted. The director demanded perfection and pushed the crew to the edge. Some whispered that the budget nearly collapsed under the film's scale. When it premiered, Terminator 2: Judgment Day became a worldwide phenomenon. Audiences returned repeatedly to witness its spectacle and emotional depth. Critics hailed it as a revolution in filmmaking. Today, the film stands tall as a reminder that humanity must understand the machines it creates before those machines understand us. Number 1. The Iron Giant, 1999. The Iron Giant appeared quietly but soon became one of the most powerful emotional sci-fi stories of the decade. Audiences expecting a simple animated adventure were stunned by its depth, heart, and philosophical weight. The film told the story of a young boy who discovered a massive robot that fell from the heavens. As the two formed a bond, the world around them grew fearful. Authorities believed the machine represented danger. Rumors spread that it was created for war. The boy believed it could choose a different path. The film's message about fear, compassion, and identity touched viewers of all ages. Yet, controversy grew. Some critics claimed the story subtly challenged military narratives. Others argued that it painted government institutions as overly aggressive. Behind the scenes, the production was difficult. Animation teams worked tirelessly, crafting detailed movements and expressive designs. The director fought to preserve the film's emotional tone despite pressure to add more humor or spectacle. Studio executives struggled to promote the film during a crowded release season, leading to limited marketing and lower awareness. The Iron Giant underperformed at first, but the story did not end there. Years later, audiences rediscovered it. The film gained immense respect for its sincerity and emotional truth. It grew into a beloved classic, cherished for its message that humanity is defined not by what we are built to be, but by the choices we make. Today, The Iron Giant stands as one of the greatest sci-fi parables of the 90s, and a reminder that even giants can have gentle hearts. The 90s were more than a decade of wild imagination. They were a warning, a mirror, a prophecy. Each of these films carried a truth that many were not ready to face. Which one shook you the most? Which one felt too real? Tell us in the comments, and do not forget to like, subscribe, and share for more cinematic deep dives into forgotten worlds and hidden legends.